I want to start by thanking Kim because I've been leaving my remarks and comment sections for 10 years or so, and this is much easier, particularly when the subject is deep. And I want to share this. I think it's valuable information. This chart that you're looking at is what I use to calculate the what's known as the Arrows of Pythagoras. And what that is, it's a way to measure numbers and a person's birth date. So, for example, if you're born and your birth date does not have the numbers 3, 5, or 7, there would be an arrow through that indicating that there's a void. And it would indicate a great amount of skepticism in a person's experience. And they would need proof, they would need data. Well, that's me. I am a skeptic, and I'd like to prefer to call myself a critical thinker. And so I think that it'd be nice if we all were, but it's simply not in the cards for some people. It's not in the charts. And so energy is energy. And in 1999, we exited what I call the millennium of the magician. So the magician is actually the number one. And if you look on a tarot card in the Rider Waite Tarot deck, there's numbers at the top of each card. And if there's a two-digit number in numerology, we would add the two digits. So, for example, if it was the 16th card, you would add 1 and 6, and we would be then looking at the energy of the number 7, which is the chariot. And that's the year that we're in. 2 and 0 and 2 and 3 adds up to 7. We are in the energy of the 7. The 7 is the chariot. So if you can learn about the chariot, you will learn about the type of experiences that we may find ourselves having. And I do feel it's important for us to make decisions this year. We've got the wheel, and it's important for us to really guide ourselves in the direction that we desire. So, not to be led by anyone else, and particularly because there are some really good meaning people out there, but there's a lot of psyops out there too. So, for people who are genuinely interested in creating a nicer place, uh, they're really trying to understand things that have happened in the past, and I respect that. But then there's others, and you have to wonder, how are they financed, to do big budget productions on, because this is about as big budget as I'm going to get. This is my slide, this is what I'm going to work with. Maybe in the future you'll get more interesting images, but this is the one that I chose to work with today. Numbers are everything. Anyway, watch out for, I'm just going to say it. Tesla is a psyop. Follow the money. There's so many things that um, if you just ask, does this feel right to me? You'll know. And you can trust that. I believe we're getting all of the same source information, but our knowledge is being hijacked. And it has been hijacked in an effort to control us. That's my way of seeing it. And so in the year 2000, numerologically, 2 and 0 and 0 and 0 adds up to 2. So we are in the millennium of the High Priestess. That's the third card in the Tarot deck. 0 is the Fool, 1 is the Magician, 2 is the High Priestess. And so I think I want to share with you a little bit of information from a numerology workbook. That's the name of the book, and it's written by Julia Line. It's quite old, and it's being held together by some really pretty duct tape. So, but this is important. So, the universal meaning, according to the author of this book, is that the 2 is the prime feminine number, the antithesis, the polarity, opposites. It represents pairs, complements, partners. It's a sign of duality and change because 1 can only be fulfilled through 2 producing 3. The yin, the eternal female, the number of the Tai Chi, which is a Chinese symbol representing motion of all things, passivity, subordination, a desire for peace and harmony, good and evil, the beginning of intellect, perception, and consciousness of some one, somewhere, some time, something. Um, It's the negative and the positive. It's the male, female. Symbols are the moon. And anytime you see two, if there's two of anything, so your two ears, your two hands, anytime you see two, the lion and the lioness who represent the fidelity and love, detail. Um, there's a tapestry entitled The Hunt of the Unicorn, and that's been brought to our attention by Julia Line. And the sign is another sign is parallel lines, and the personal meaning is that twos are gentle by nature, artistic, imaginative, and romantic. Their qualities are more mental than physical. They are inventive but not forceful enough when trying to carry out their ideas. Twos collect and assimilate. They were not born to lead but to follow, cooperate, and harmonize. Some are deeply intuitive and many possess occult powers. Twos are subject to changes of mood and emotion and are often hurt by unkind remarks or criticism. They like beauty and order in their lives, are good natured and kind, but can be shy and rather self conscious. Negative twos can suffer from depression and can also be cruel, deceitful, and malicious at times. They can become extremely possessive over people and objects. When the number two is connected with future events, it signifies a need for caution and means that this is not the right time to make a decision. You should wait and see what develops before making any positive actions. So that's when it's connected to future events. In personal life, twos are devoted parents who like to provide comfortable homes for their families. Also, very careful with money as it represents security. They hardly ever overspend. This might explain our economy. They like their partners to demonstrate their love physically and are constantly seeking reassurance and encouragement. Twos are very faithful and affectionate, must not allow their overactive imaginations to give them groundless reasons for jealousy. Twos dislike arguments and are always the first to want to kiss and make up. And positive keywords: feminine, parental, emotional, receptive, submissive, understanding, gentle, balance. Negative: deceitful, cruel, malicious, self conscious. So that's sort of the energy of the two. That's the millennium that we're in, the energy that we're in until the year 2999, so long as we agree to live under that system of calculating our date. And that's questionable for me. So, with the arrows of Pythagoras, um, we disregard the zeros. And so, if you were born in the 11th month, you would put two ones in the bottom left corner of your chart. So, you would start with a blank, like a tic tac toe chart. I think most of us know what that is. So, what you're looking at here, but without the numbers. And if you have three ones, you would add three ones into that corner. And then you would look for patterns, you would look for arrows. So, for somebody who has the numbers 1, 5, and 9, you have a fixed intention. You're patient, persistent, determined, you concentrate, and you are devoted. So this is an energy that you just can't help. This is part of who you are. But somebody who does not have the 1, 5, and 9 in their chart can be reluctant, unwilling, hesitant, indecisive. And so this is why I feel that this chart is valuable to us in this time. Somebody was asking recently about the missing 258 and why these are not years of revolutionary war and major change. And well, I think we can see that, or at least, Julia Line has attempted to explain to us what the energy of the two is. So in the Arrows of Pythagoras chart, when those numbers are missing, it denotes a person who is sensitive. So the 258, if it's missing, that person would be sensitive, over emotional, touchy, thin skinned, excitable, easily hurt, shy, feelings of inferiority, unbalanced, and inadequate. We're not going to lead a revolution, folks. And so that is kind of clear to me, and a lot to leave in a comment section, which I would normally be inclined to do uh, in response to my friend's question. So I hope that helps. Um, if they do have a 258 in their chart, it denotes balance, harmony of emotions, unbiased, even tempered in proportion. They're regular, smooth, undistorted. So it sounds like it's a very, smooth sailing type of an energy. And I noticed it's actually a water energy. So the 258 represents the energy of the high priestess is the 2, the 5 is the hierophant, and the 8 is the strength card, which is the female equivalent of the magician. You can see that if you look at the tarot card, you can see that they have an infinity sign above their head, and these are the only two cards in the tarot with those signs. So the 369, this is the revolutionary years that I want to bring this to your attention. The energy of the 369, we're talking about the mind. We're talking about our mental awareness. We're talking about our imagination, our thoughts, creative ideas, and mental processes. We're talking about the air sign. We're talking about the swords. Air represents thoughts. That's important for us to know. Swords in the tarot is the suit that represents um, our thoughts. And I want to bring something else to your attention. The sword in the stone. Drop the S's. The word in the tone. The word in the tone. This is how we create. And we know this now. So we've done a lot of awareness. We've done a lot of work trying to bring attention to how we allow our thoughts to use us. And it's important for us to take control of our thoughts in these years, because these are obviously, it's, like they say about Tesla, this fictitious character, a psyop, in my opinion. Um, they say the power of the 369, if you only knew. Well, I think this is what they're saying. It's about the Empress, the 3, the Lovers, the 6, and the Hermit, the 9. The Hermit represents Hermes. It's hermetically sealed. And it's the wizard. It's the sum of all numbers. There's only 9 numbers. 0 is simply a placeholder. The 1 is the magician, 2, high priestess, 3, empress, 4, emperor, 5, hierophant, 6, lovers, 7, chariot, the year we're in, 8, the year we're heading towards is strength, and followed by 9, the hermit. The 0 is only a placeholder, and the circle is pure potential. We are the fools, and it's up to us to choose wisely with the pure potential that we are offered. And these arrows that Pythagoras used, because again, if there was a pattern, if there was 3 in a row, tic-tac-toe, haha, uh, when there was 3 numbers in a row on one of these lines, like the 159 or the 258, uh, that would that would indicate a more powerful force of energy. So the 258 is amplified, and missing 258 would have been seen as a weak spot. And just simply having an awareness about what our weak spots might be. I see I see my missing 357 as a good thing, because it shows it's a sign of skepticism. And for me, that's where my critical thinking comes from, and I'm quite grateful for it. So it's not really a deficiency in my case. It's actually, I feel it's a strength, or maybe I'm just able to turn it around and uh, and not allow it to torment me. Again, just bringing that awareness in. So the middle row, the top row is air. The middle row is water, the 258, and that's the high priestess, the hierophant, and the strength card. We're in the 147 row. That's the year we're in, 7. And this is fire. This is practical matters. This is doing. This is taking action. This is the magician, the emperor, and chariot. That's a lot of fire, folks. And so that's the wands in the tarot. And so if you know your tarot, you know a little more about numerology. And yeah, numerology is quite an interesting subject, but I think that, again, there's so many ways of seeing it. Which way do you want to choose? Whichever one feels right to you. This is the one that has felt right to me. It's not easy to find information about the Arrows of Pythagoras, and this book is not that easy to locate, I'm told. So, um, if you've got it, bring it forward, make good use of it, sell it, get rid of it, sell it to somebody who's going to make good use of it. I'm sure there was many of them published back in the 70s, 80s maybe. And yeah, share it. That's why we're here. Otherwise, we're living in a state of inertia. And to me, that was the 0 year, AD, BC. And, you know, they keep changing what it means. Um, it was definitely an event. It was a common event. We can agree upon that. Something big happened. And with us being in the millennium of the High Priestess, our intuitive senses are going to be sharper. Please do some research, do some reading about who the High Priestess is. Know that this is what the Great Awakening has been about. It's about us tapping into that intuition, the what we already know. So I'm going to send good wishes to everyone, and encourage curiosity. You know, we don't know how it's going to go. And if we put a lot of energy into worrying about it, we're going to have a lot of reasons to worry. So stay curious and use your thoughts to your greatest potential. All the best.